Hello everyone, I'm Victoria and today I'd like to do my review of Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. So I don't want to give too much of the plot away because I think it's best if you approach this with a little bit of mystery. So here's just a little snippet of what happens. We follow Laszlo Strange, who is an orphan and was originally raised by monks. Eventually he goes to the main library in his country and he becomes an intern and then eventually a librarian in his own right. Laszlo Strange earns the nickname of Strange the Dreamer because he is always daydreaming and thinking of something else, specifically the city of Weep. So for most people in this book, the city of Weep is a fictional town that has been lost to history. Most people consider it a fairy tale, but Laszlo does not, and he spends most of his free time trying to find any reference to the city of Weep in the library's vast archives. Laszlo is eventually proven correct, however, when Weep becomes known to the world again. Honestly, I really enjoyed this book a lot. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5. Did I think it was a perfect book? No. Did I think it was a beautiful book? Yes, absolutely. One of the things that I think is best about this book is actually Laini Taylor's writing. It is beautiful and lush and poetic. Her prose are just amazing to me. She walks this fine line of being an author that can give you the information, tell you exactly what's going on, versus an author that is super flowery, kind of has that purple prose. She is able to both give you the information, the plot, the details, and also just write some hauntingly beautiful phrases. She uses those poetic techniques, similes, metaphors, sparingly enough that when you do come across these beautifully crafted phrases, they really stand out and you just want to take a moment and savor them. And to me, her writing really enhances this book so much and adds to the plot and the characters. I definitely loved Laini Taylor's characterizations throughout this. Each character is very varied and interesting. They all have tragic backstories and just huge amounts of layers to their characters. Except the tertiary characters, I will say, can kind of come across as being a little bit flat. But this is the first book in a duology, so I'm expecting them to be maybe fleshed out a little bit more in the second one. But overall, I really love that no one is kind of right or wrong in this. We see the story of basically a people overcoming a tragedy, dealing with that tragedy, and then also trying to prevent another tragedy. So all these characters, like I said, are super complex and are dealing with some crazy issues in their past. That's another thing I want to say about this book. If you are expecting a light-hearted read, some just fluffy fun thing, that is not this. This is dealing with some heavy issues and it can get pretty difficult at times, but it's absolutely worth it. Again, the whole thing isn't like tragic and awful. There are definitely some light, wonderful, beautiful moments throughout. Another thing that I want to talk about is actually the pacing of this and the plot structure. I will say that the actual plot of the story doesn't start until about 200 pages in. The first 200 pages are dealing with character development and world building. I was never bored with them. I was absolutely captivated by Laini Taylor's writing, and her character development and her world building I think was fantastic. So again, I was never bored, but if you're one of those people that wants plot, all those things, I think that this might be a little boring, or at least be a little difficult to get into. The other thing is that there is a romantic relationship in this, but the two romantic leads don't meet each other until about 250 pages in, and one of the romantic leads isn't introduced until about 80 pages, and then we have parallel stories for both of those until, again, like I said, about 250 pages in. So if you are one of those people that wants romance right away and the whole thing just wrapped up in a wonderful romance, then again, this might take a while to get to that payoff, so you might not be super happy with that. One of my main issues with this book is the fact that there is insta-love in it. Now, if any author can pull off an insta-love, it's Laini Taylor, and honestly, she really does a wonderful job. The romance in this is beautiful and magical and heartbreaking. It's wonderful, but it's still insta-love, so I didn't love that. But again, I didn't hate it. Laini Taylor is such a capable and gifted author that she absolutely made me root for it. I didn't really mind so much the fact that these two characters fell in love in 3 days. She actually made it believable and beautiful. So I can't fault it too much for that. The other small quibble that I have with this is the fact that there are some themes that pop up in this book that were also in her previous trilogy, Daughter of Smoke and Bone. Now, I definitely loved that trilogy. I think I gave them all 4 stars. And I just wanted something completely different for this. Not that it's a crime to kind of bring in themes from other works. A lot of authors do that. There are certain themes that they almost always address in all of their books, and that's fine. But I just wanted something completely different in this. And again, like I said, in the 3rd book of the Daughter, Smoke and Bone trilogy, it was called Dreaming of Gods and Monsters, I believe. And one of the chapters in this is even called Gods and Monsters, Monsters and Gods. So you notice there's just some of those similar themes throughout. But overall, this is a different book. It's a completely different world, completely different characters, absolutely. I just, like I said, wanted something absolutely new and different. And mostly overall, it's just in a few instances, we are kind of rehashing the same ideas. One more thing I just want to say is the prologue in this actually spoils the end of the book. I think that the prologue is genius. I think it's beautiful. It's an arresting image that we're presented, and I think it's fabulous, and I applaud Laini Taylor. I am also one of those garbage trash people that reads the last page of a book before they start the book. Yeah, I'm terrible. I know. What can I say? We can't all be perfect. So for me, that was not a big issue, but if you're one of those people that absolutely hates spoilers and doesn't want to know, that might be a factor in your enjoyment of this book. To be honest, I think that it did not ruin the end for me at all. It did not damage the emotional payoff. I found the end absolutely heartbreaking, and I actually cried. So overall, I really enjoyed this book. There were some things in this that might be issues for some people that, again, want a super fast, plot-driven book, or people that perhaps don't love her writing style, or people that are not a huge fan of insta-love. But again, overall, I loved it despite those things. I did not think that those were issues at all. And I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 out of 5. And I am super eagerly anticipating the next book, which I don't know when it's coming out. 2018, I guess. That seems like forever. Oh well. So let me know in the comments below if you have read this book and what do you think of it. I would love to hear your opinion. Thank you again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.